is a news show.
Hello, nation. Welcome to the Tuesday show. Of course, my name's Philip DeFranco, and this show is really just me talking about news and top stuff and things that mattered to me today. And nation, the first thing I want to talk about today is an internet nerd fight, specifically Microsoft versus Google. You have Microsoft, mainly known for their software, trying to move into the search world, and then you have Google, known for their search and advertising, trying to move into the app and software worlds. And so rather than handling this like grown-up companies, namely like corporate espionage, suing each other over patents, killing people, Microsoft started this video campaign to bash Google. The last one I saw was in July 2011. They made a Gmail joke. And most recently, the guys over at Microsoft released a video about Google going into apps.
Guggen Apperson, I'm here for my 4:30.
It's 5:30.
Well, you should be ready for me then.
My employees live on Excel and PowerPoint. Does it work like those?
Potentially.
Does it have active spell check?
Sometimes.
Pivot charts?
Not sure what that is.
What if my employees need to make revisions while they're on the road?
Don't worry about it. You ask so many questions.
And so, this guy is representing Google. He's a doucher. He shows up late. He's really full of himself. He thinks he can jump into worlds that aren't his. And then there's a song.
Google killed off gears and waves. They buried Buzz the same way.
Hey, Microsoft, I have a song for you, too. It goes a little like, no one knows what Bing is unless they Google it. They're just angry because they spent like $1 billion trying to get people to use Bing, and the only person that uses it is like Ryan Seacrest and 80-year-old women who listen to Ryan Seacrest. Plus, I love that Google's in apps. I haven't used Excel in forever because I have Google Spreadsheet. Why? Because most everyone I know has a Google Spreadsheet because they have a free Gmail account, and whether or not I have my computer, because it is connected to my email, I can always access Google Spreadsheets. Plus, the fact that they can edit their app on the fly makes them more versatile, not locked in and dumb. And ultimately, even though Google's not the young buck it once was, it just seems like angry old Microsoft, angry at the new guy. And ultimately, I just think it's a bad move on Microsoft's part because it just makes them seem petty and it gives Google more notoriety. If anything, you should just do what Apple does. You see something that someone is doing better and you copy it 4 years later and say it's a new feature. Boom, people love that shit. And nation, because we're already talking about the interwebs, let's talk about Facebook. Starting with, I read a story today about how a Minnesota man sued his uncle for uploading an unflattering picture to Facebook, saying essentially the uncle uploaded childhood photos that he had not approved, and then he left mean comments underneath. When he previously confronted Uncle Randall, Randall said, I'll untag you, but if you don't like the pictures, get off Facebook, fucker. I added the fucker to the end of that sentence, but it sounded so much better. Well, this did go to court and it lasted about 3 seconds because the judge was like, maybe you suck it up, princess, because the court determined that the mean comments coupled with the innocuous family photos do not adversely affect the safety, security, or privacy of another, which ultimately I agree with. And you sued your uncle over this? Sick move, guy. Granted, I do feel you on friends not removing terrible, terrible photos on you. It sucks. For every happy moment in my life, there are 1,000 photos of me turned to the side with my neck down. Chins galore. But what can you do? Honestly, it's 2012 and you can ask your uncle nicely and he could actually remove the picture, but that picture is on the internet forever. That's the way it works. And it's weird to think because of sites like Facebook, how the world is different. Like there was this new study at the University of Kansas that showed because of Facebook and social networking sites, exes get back together more often and are usually more miserable people because of it. Because back in the day, you could just not answer your phone, blacklist a number, but with Facebook, everyone is right there. It's been a year, things have changed, she's lost like 20 pounds, she's kind of hot, maybe I should poke her. Don't do it, Timmy, you're gonna regret it, your mind and your penis are working against you. And so that's what the study says, but personally what I use Facebook for is like every year or so, I go back and I find my exes and my old friends and everyone that ever said I was gonna fail, and I just soak it in. I'm like, oh, Ralph's 23, he has 3 kids, he got married out of high school, mortgage, a minimum wage job. That's what you get for kissing my girlfriend at that party that one time 6 years ago. I'm petty as a motherfucker, but Facebook makes it so much easier and so much better. And nation, from there, we move on to a very special pre-Lent edition of Guy Stuff. If you were thinking to yourself, man, no one's dressed up like Marilyn Monroe for like 3 seconds. Ta-da! Very weird, always odd, but very, very curvy Courtney Stodden decided, hey, I don't know anything about Marilyn Monroe other than that amazing picture where you almost see her vagina, so let's do that. And there was a whole spread on that. By a spread, I don't mean it was in a magazine so much as I mean they probably hired a photographer or a photog was like, I got nothing to do. So there was that. One of my new favorites, Kate Upton, has a 45-second staring contest video. And if I remember correctly, I think this was for a Sobe campaign, but there's no advertising in it. It's really just her fidgeting with her boobs. And also, while I'm not complaining because I do like the Kate Upton jiggle, I do have to say she blinked after 5 seconds. Granted, it was a lustful blink, but a blink is a blink, people. So there's that, if you want to watch that on repeat. And then out of left field, and you know what? Because we have not done it in a long time, let's do the Megan Fox watch. For some reason, I have sex with Brian Austin Green. While Megan Fox really hasn't done anything notable since she was replaced by a model who has never acted in her life in the Transformers franchise, and that one terrible movie she did that was written by Diablo Cody, she was on a beach in a bikini looking hot, and you got to appreciate that. Even if the thing you're appreciating is having sex with Ryan Austin Green for some reason. I think that relationship proves love must be real, because what the fuck? But main point, that was your pre-Lent guy stuff. And Nation, the last thing I want to talk about today is the future. And that's because today, Consumer Reports magazine announced its support for V2V, not to be confused with vag to vag, but vehicle to vehicle. V2V technology will allow automobiles to communicate with each other electronically and potentially save many, many lives. Essentially, each vehicle broadcasts its speed and direction to anything else out in the area. Another example is when a vehicle starts to skid out of control because maybe a slippery surface, it sends out an alert and it's like, yo, slow down, yo, it be slippery as hell up there. And while V2V technology is very important to eventually get to that point where all cars are driverless, the big thing is to integrate this into new cars and even retrofitting old cars now that are driven by humans. And now there is a discussion about, V2V technology is amazing, but what are the limits? You just get an alert that the car in front of you is about to crash, or does the car brake for you? The systems are also being tinkered with so they don't just talk with cars, but also work with things like signals and signs, allowing cars to automatically react to maybe that red light you didn't see or you didn't know you were in a school zone. And potentially this technology could even go into your cell phone. Let's say you have a V2V app or there's just something built into your cell phone that communicates with cars. Maybe you drunkenly stumble into the street, someone doesn't see you, car moves out of the way. Maybe it saves your life, and this is very interesting because as of right now, the technology could be built into new cars, and you can actually retrofit old cars with this thing that's about the size of a cigarette pack. And I kind of love it, but I do also see pitfalls. I love it because it makes driving safer. You're going to save lives. But on the other hand, is this V2V stuff going to, go to the police and they can see if someone's speeding and then you get screwed? Could hackers potentially hack into your car and make it explode or make it break or make it speed up? It's very hard to say because it's new technology, but ultimately, I love this. I think the popularization and general acceptance of driverless cars is going to take a while for the rest of the country, but I love where this is going. This is very, very cool. The way I see this V2V stuff most likely working out is at first there's going to be resistance, but then as more and more people use it and there's stats to show that people that have this in their car have accidents less, I think it'll get to the point that if you don't have this in your car, it's going to be taboo. And I think the media is going to play a huge part in this because, as more and more people use this in driving, gets safer when someone has an accident and they're like, they didn't have the V2V in their car, those stories are going to get a lot of traction. Those people are going to be demonized and ultimately, ultimate acceptance of new technology. Or someone hacks a car and they drive it off a cliff and then everything goes downhill. One of the two. And guys, that's actually going to be the question of the day today. Do you like this V2V technology? Do you love it so much that you would eventually like a driverless car? Let me know in the comments down below. And Nation, we have come to the part of the show where I'll throw something at your face, and today it is a PS Vita. I figured because they're coming out tomorrow, one of you might like it. Of course, to possibly get pelted in the face with said thing, you just gotta leave a comment on this video. And of course, a big thank you to those of you that remember to clickety-clack the like button, favorite when you really like it, share these videos how you do. And of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco, and you've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.